Hello students, in continuation with my lecture series for Environment and Ecology for BTECH first year students, today we will discuss food chain and food web. So this is also a very important topic for your exam. It is usually asked in section C of your paper with approximately marks carrying are 10 to 7 marks, where you have to give definition for what a food chain is, what a food web is. You have to compare them, or you have to give examples of the same. So what do you mean by the word chain? That is coming in sequence, one depending on the other. So food chain defined as, if it is 2 marks, you just need to write the definition. The transfer of food energy from the producers like plants through a series of organisms, that is herbivores, carnivores, successfully, with the repeated activity of eating and being eaten, is known as food chain. Have a look here. Now this is grass. It is consumed by the grasshopper. Grasshopper is eaten by either here rat, frog, snake, etc. And then the cat here is eating the rat, and this hawk here is eating the cat. And then again this cycle is continuing. So energy is being transferred between organisms, where one organism is eating the other and they are dependent on each other. So this is a food chain, which is a simple linear series of steps, and food web comes out as a more complex structure. So in an ecosystem, one organism is being eaten by the other, like cat eats rat, snake is eaten by a hawk, frog eats grasshopper, which in turn is eaten by the third, and so on. So this kind of feeding relationship is known as food chain. Many examples are there. Grasshopper eats grass, frog eats grasshopper, snake eats frog, hawk eats snake. This way, this comes as a series or in the form of a chain. So in nature, there are two basic types of food chains: grazing food chain and detritus food chain. The grazing food chain starts with the green plants, G for green, G for grazing, or the primary producers, because green plants are available. It is a gift of nature, and green plants are consumed by almost all living beings on earth, and then it goes to the herbivores and on to the carnivores, like rabbit eats grass, fox eats rabbit, tiger eats fox. So the sequence of eating and being eaten in an ecosystem is known as food chain. You can learn one or two examples. Once it was asked in section A to give example along with definition for food chain. So for 2 marks, you just need to write the sequence of eating and being eaten in an ecosystem is known as food chain. Example: grasshopper eats grass, frog eats grasshopper, snake eats frog, hawk eats snake. Okay, now the grazing and detritus food chain. Grazing, G for grazing, G for green. So it starts with green plants. Detritus food chain is not depending on the solar energy. D for detritus, D for dead. So disintegrated dead bodies of plants. Let us compare them. This was asked once in section B carrying 5 marks. So you can show the comparison like this. Grazing food chain starts from the living green plants. Detritus food chain starts from the dead organic matter and decomposers. Grazing food chain, much less fraction of energy flows through this type of food chain. Detritus food chain, larger fraction of energy flows. Grazing binds to inorganic nutrients. Detritus releases the inorganic nutrients. Grazing, it is directly dependent on the influx of solar radiation, whereas the detritus in energy for the food chain comes from the organic waste that we have and matter. So you can have a look here. Detritus is this, and food web. Now, food web compared to food chain is more complicated. That means it is consisting of a series of food chains. So, food web is a network of food chains where different types of organisms are connected at different tropical levels, so that there are a number of options of eating and being eaten at each tropical level. Let us have a look. Here we have, as we can see, the food web diagram is more complicated compared to the food chain. Once again, grasshopper is eating this grass. Even the flies on the tree are eating these fruits. Grasshopper, even rats and rabbits are eating the carrot. And a rabbit, rat, frog, bird easily getting eaten by the eagle. Not only this, the snake and the fox are consuming, like fox is eating rat, snake is eating the frog, and they are getting consumed by the eagle. In a more general manner, you can see the primary here, the producers, that is the plants, vegetables, fruits, etc., getting consumed directly either by, like grasshopper is eating grass, rabbit is eating carrot or direct vegetables, frog is eating the grasshopper, rabbit is getting eaten by this snake, and the hawk here is eating the snake. Frog is getting eaten by this fox, whereas directly also they are here eating the decomposers or the worms. So this is more complicated compared to the food chain. This has been asked many times. It is better you draw a comparative table to explain for a section C question. Food chain, food web. Chain, it refers to natural system by which energy is transmitted from one organism to another. Food web consists of a number of interconnected food chains. Food chain is member of higher trophic level feeding upon a single type of organism. Food web, member of higher trophic level feeding upon many organisms. Food chain does not have any effect on improving the adaptability and competitiveness of the organism, whereas the food web improves the adaptability and competitiveness of the organism. Example of food chain: carrot is eaten by rabbit, snake eats the rabbit, eagle eats the snake. Example of food chain: a hawk might eat a mouse, a squirrel, a frog, or some other animal, and the snake can easily eat insects, beetle, etc. It has an option. So the significance or the importance of food chain and food web is that the food chains and food webs play a very significant role in the ecosystem, because the two most important functions of energy flow and nutrition getting cycled is taking place through food chains. Food chains also help in maintaining and regulating the population size of different animals, and it also contributes in ecological balance. So food chains and food webs are very important, not only as ecological balance maintaining, but also for the flow of energy in the environment. Thank you.